In the last stream, we were working on crossbreeding a staggering number of chickens in this chicken pen here to try and eventually get this Enderman chicken to allow us to get at least one Ender Pearl to in turn allow us to complete the Age of Diamonds questline. The pulsating iron ingot here was the thorn in our side that we needed in order to complete the questline, and as we've seen, we are going to need a lot of these pulsating iron ingots before we complete the pack because they are required for the pulsating alloy singularity here, and so all of this effort, whilst slightly undermined by the fact that we did also manage to get a couple of emerald chickens in the last episode, and emeralds were the thing that we were working towards with the pulsating iron, it wasn't all in vain because we do still need those pulsating iron ingots going forward. And so the plan for today's stream, as I mentioned last time, is going to be to start to utilize some of the crude oil that we have nearby for a couple of different use cases. The first use case is going to be to speed up a lot of what we've got going on from pneumatic craft, because the speed upgrades require lubricant, and lubricant we can make using refined oil. Another thing that we can do is we can sell some of the other byproducts from processing crude oil to get more of the relic scraps. Currently, if we check our wallet, which I thought was in my backpack, but I guess is actually gone. Okay, so it seems that we have lost the wallet. I am not quite sure where that's gone, but all the more reason for us to look at processing this crude oil using the refinery to get diesel, creosote, gasoline, and LPG. So the diesel is what we're going to use to make the lubricant, which we can then use to make the aforementioned speed upgrades. The LPG can then be used to produce plastic, which is something we are going to need a fair amount of in the plastic sheet form here to make a lot of the items from pneumatic craft. And on top of that, we also get the creosote and the gasoline, which can both be sold using the AMADRON template here to produce relic scraps. And those relic scraps, of course, are useful for purchasing things over in the catalog over here. So if we're going to process the crude oil, we first need to get some crude oil, of course. And so for that, I think what we'll do is we'll grab another one of these basic portable tanks. We'll upgrade it again to an advanced portable tank so that we can go and acquire 16 buckets of oil from the little pocket of oil that we have nearby. As we've seen previously, the crude oil is duplicatable utilizing the fluid generator. And so we should set up at least one, but probably multiple of the fluid generators to produce the crude oil. The reason I say multiple is that you don't get a lot of crude oil at a time. Unlike the water here, where you get 50 millibuckets every cycle, the crude oil, you only get 10 millibuckets. That's even less than we're getting with the lava. And so if we want to get a reasonable amount of crude oil in a reasonable period of time, we're probably going to want to set up, 5, maybe 10 of the fluid generators, all producing crude oil and all pumping into the refinery. Speaking of the refinery, that is the first thing that we need to make here. For that, we need the refinery controller. This requires another small fluid tank. Easy enough. We made a few of those now, along with some more reinforced stone slabs. We've seen this recipe before. It does require some more stone, which we, of course, are making over here. And between streams, I did finally get around to making that extra 1K storage disk. So we do have a little bit more flexibility in terms of our storage, at least for the time being. Once we have the reinforced stone, let me just check. It is... yes, just a reinforced stone slab. Sometimes we have to craft this into reinforced bricks. That is not the case this time. We can go boom, and we have the refinery controller. Now, the way this works is when you place the crude oil into the refinery controller, you can then produce different resources depending on how many refinery outputs you have on top of the refinery controller. You'll see if we have 4, we get diesel, creosote, gasoline, and LPG. If we just had 2, I believe we would just get diesel and LPG, which could be useful because here we get twice as much diesel as if we were to use all 4 tanks, and the diesel is what we need to make lubricant with a thermopneumatic processing plant, which I will bookmark because we need one of those as well. But I do think that getting the creosote and gasoline that we can then use in the future to sell for relic scraps is probably more worthwhile than getting a little bit more diesel. So I think what we'll try and do is, if we go back to refinery, is we'll try and grab 4 of these refinery outputs. For that, we just need even more of these reinforced stone slabs. And so let's quickly go ahead and craft up just a bunch more of these, enough to get us, hopefully, 4 refinery outputs. Now, To make 4 of these, we do need 4 Fluix blocks, which means we're going to need to get 16 Fluix crystals. These are made 2 at a time, and so we need 8 nether quartz, which I believe we have over in our chest over here. We do indeed, alongside 8 redstone, which we'll have over in our redstone chicken chest, and then finally 8 charged Certus quartz. Right now, I'm assuming we don't have any charged Certus quartz. We do not. We do have regular Certus quartz, and of course, we can make more utilizing this recipe right here, which thankfully isn't too difficult. Nice. So we'll take 8 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we'll drop that into the charger chest over here to be charged. And while we wait for that to charge, there has been a problem that has been pointed out to me with our wheat farm over here. The problem is that the harvester drone needs access to the top of the iron chest here in order to be able to access the hose. You'll see the harvester drone is just kind of sitting around, and you'll also notice that there is a lot of wheat ready to be harvested that's not currently being harvested. Again, the reason for that is that our drone does not have access to the top of the chest. Despite the fact that we had glass here before, despite the fact that the chest is openable, even when the chest is openable with glass on the top, it still needs like physical access to the top of the chest. And so the trouble, of course, with that setup is this, right? That's the exact reason why that's not something that we've been doing up until now. And so what I think we should do, we've also managed to get 2 entropy manipulators, which I think is probably part of the reason why we no longer have a wallet. But I think we have 2 choices. I think it's possible that iron chests might not catch fire. We can give it a go. Alternatively, though, I think the better solution is probably just going to be to move the chest up a little bit so it's not right next to the lava, because don't forget there is a 17 by 17 by 17 area in which the drone can work, so the drone can work rather high in the air. So if we were to actually quickly grab the wrench out of our system, once we have the wrench, I'm just going to pop this guy off as per usual, and then basically all we'll do here is we'll just move this chest with all of its associated hose a little bit higher into the sky, just far enough away to where it doesn't get affected by the lava, right? So if we go ahead and put down the chest, we'll use the iron chest because we have it, boom, and we'll put the hose in first, like this. We can then go and shift-click U onto the top. There we go. And so now we should be able to leave this drone with access to the top of that chest, and it should basically continue working non-stop. Up until now, we've noticed that occasionally the harvesting drone will just sit on the charging station for an extended period of time. I think the reason for that was because it couldn't access the chest and therefore couldn't get new hose, and that was just causing issues. But now it should keep going and everything should be good. Back over here, we should have 8 of our Certus quartz crystals fully charged. And so now if we drop all 3 of these once again into a pool of water, boom, boom, and boom, we should see those transform into, hopefully, the required 16 Fluix crystals, and then, of course, we can just craft those into 4 Fluix blocks, which is all that we need in order to make the 4 refinery outputs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. So, let's go ahead and place our refinery down, and then we'll place the 4 outputs on top of it. Now, I think we might have to do it like this. 2, 3, 4. And we're almost good to go. Let me go ahead and see about grabbing the crude oil that is fairly close by. We'll see about filling up this 16 bucket advanced portable tank here. And once we've got 16 buckets of oil, we can now take that oil and place it into the refinery. Now, unlike the other machines from Pneumaticraft, where we use, a compressor of some persuasion to increase the pressure inside of the machine, the refinery here, and also in association, the thermopneumatic processing plant, they work a little bit differently in that they require heat. So in here, you'll see that the required temperature to begin processing the crude oil is 100 degrees Celsius. And the temperature currently is 56 degrees Celsius, which I believe is higher than usual. And I think that's because we're in a desert biome, which I feel like I'm normally not. I never get that little bonus from being in a desert biome. But what we can do is kind of twofold. The simplest option is kind of to just take lava and place that underneath the refinery. I believe it can go either side of the refinery as well, just so long as it's touching one of the refinery faces, it's going to begin increasing the temperature. You'll see it's shot right up to 140, 145 degrees Celsius, and you'll see that we're producing diesel, creosote, gasoline, and LPG. The only problem with this is that, I think it'll show us in JEI here, as the lava cools, which it does as you use it for its heat, it's going to turn into obsidian. It has a heat capacity of 10,000. It says here, heat capacity is the amount of heat which can be gained or lost by the block before it transforms into another block. So once it loses 10,000 heat units, it will transform into obsidian, which is not going to happen super quickly, but will happen fairly quickly. Another option is to use the heated iron that we accidentally made a few episodes back. This right here does heat us up as well, and apparently also is now a quest complete for this quest line. But this is also the same in that it also has a heat capacity of 10,000. The benefit here, though, and there goes the obsidian, by the way. The benefit here, though, is that when the scorching iron cools down, it turns back into a block of iron, which we can then just smelt again to get a block of scorching iron. And so I think we can probably make something work here if we get the block breaker from Opolis Utilities. This thing is fairly straightforward. It needs a dispenser, which needs a bow. That's easy enough. And then 2 iron pickaxes. That is not going to be a problem. Our iron chicken is still working away, making more iron for us. And I do believe that this block breaker does require a pickaxe to function. But I think that we can then potentially use this to break the obsidian here. Like if I put that down and I put a pickaxe in there, I think with a lever, that should hopefully break the obsidian there. I actually don't know if the iron pickaxe can break the obsidian. Yeah, maybe it can't. Let me try. Let me just make sure I'm doing this right. If I take this, let's say I put it here, let's say I put this in here, and then let's say I put maybe some cobblestone or something down in front of it. Does that break the block? It does. It breaks it straight away. It doesn't require a redstone signal. Interesting. One thing you can do, I believe, is you can filter using, I think it's the right slot here. So if I were to, let's say, grab some stone, and I put the stone in the right slot, like this, you can't put in, it's very weird. If you try and put in one item, so if you right click or left click with one item, it doesn't work, or with more than one item. If you have exactly one item, you can put it in. But now, it doesn't break the cobblestone. Never mind, it does break the cobblestone. Let me try this slot. There we go. Okay, so now it isn't going to break the cobblestone. It's only going to break the stone. And so if we were to break the cobblestone, and I were to instead put some stone down, it should break the stone. Nice. And so in theory, what we can do here then is we can whitelist regular iron blocks. So if we make a regular iron block, like so, we can add these to the whitelist, basically telling the block breaker to only break those. And so if we were to place down a scorching iron block, it's not going to break it. And once that scorching iron block transforms into a regular iron block, at that point, it will then break it. Cool. We could then potentially have something like a hopper beneath the block to allow it to be picked up. We could run that iron block round and to a furnace that is powered potentially by one of our cold chickens. Alternatively, we could also run it to a second alloy smelter, which might be the better idea here because we could power the second alloy smelter with just a solar panel, and that will give it fuel indefinitely. And then I believe we can use a block placer, this guy right here, to then just replace down the scorching iron block. And so we should be able to kind of set up a loop that continually keeps this refinery nice and hot to process all of the oil. All right, so a quick bit of time in a bottle usage on our diamond chicken here. We have enough diamonds to make a diamond pickaxe to allow us to hopefully break the obsidian here somewhat quickly. I am also interested, actually, to see whether or not the block breaker here is able to break the obsidian if it has the right pickaxe. It is. Nice. Okay, I think that was definitely faster than we could have done it as well, which is very nice indeed. And so let's go ahead and get that block placer. And thankfully, that's even easier to make than the block breaker. And so we'll put the block breaker down right about here. And again, in here, we're just going to whitelist this for blocks of iron. It's not a perfect system because of the fact that it does require a constant supply of iron pickaxes or even diamond pickaxes for it to work. But it is going to work for a lot longer than if we just put down a bucket of lava and left it, right? And so I think it's definitely worth doing. And in the future, we could always look at utilizing the auto-crafting capabilities of the refined storage system to constantly export pickaxes to this breaker. Over here, we'll also put down the block placer, like so. And I'm fairly certain that if we put the scorching iron in there, it is going to place it down. Nice. As for another alloy smelter, I think for that, we're going to need another void chassis, which does require more diamonds. It's possible, though, that we might be close to our 4th diamond over here from our diamond chicken. We're not. We're 7 minutes away, which is unfortunate. Although, we can do this. We should definitely get another pressure chamber up and running so that we can utilize that to turn coal into diamonds again. And, of course, we do need to automate the sending of seeds over to these chickens, which is something I do plan to do very soon, chat. Do not worry about it. Over here, though, we are now producing more diesel, creosote, gasoline, and LPG. Nice. And there we go. There's the iron block gone, which is not ideal, but is fine. So let's grab the diamond from this chicken. Boom. There's our diamond. And that should be, I think, all we're missing for another alloy smelter here. Let's get another void chassis, and let's get 3 more regular furnaces, along with 2 more of the old stone gears, and of course, a cauldron. And it looks like at that point, they're missing, oh, of course, dark steel. I kept thinking this was compressed iron, but it's not. So if we want to get dark steel, that one's a little bit trickier. We need the iron, the powdered coal, and the obsidian. So powdered coal we can get from the sag mill, that's fine. Iron we of course have in abundance, and then we just need 1 more obsidian, which we can get using our little fluid mixer over here. So we'll do 1 water and 1 lava. Boom, boom. That hopefully has enough pressure inside of it. It does, to make us the obsidian. Fantastic. And that should be basically everything. One other thing that I have since noticed about the sag mill is that it is much better at producing silicon. So real quick, let me use the sag mill here to get some powdered coal. But up until now, we have been making silicon utilizing this crafting recipe right here, where we take the silicon blend and put it in the charger, and the silicon blend is sand, nether quartz, and gold, which is fine. It does work, but it's not great. What we can now do, though, is we can just put sand directly into the sag mill, and there's a 50-50 chance with each sand that you get silicon, which makes it substantially faster, and therefore is going to make it substantially easier for us to branch out with refined storage going forward, because if you hadn't noticed, we are surrounded by sand. Back over here, though, the dark steel is done, and so we should be able to grab another alloy smelter. For the time being, I'm probably just going to steal 1 of the solar panels we have over here, because for the most part, I don't feel like they're doing too much, because we do have a full battery right there, and we're not really using some of these machines regularly. And as we saw before, we should now be able to place the alloy smelter down. I'm going to put it down like this with the solar panel on top, like so. That's going to fill up with power, of course, as soon as we place a capacitor inside of it. The capacitor just missing some golden nuggets. That is not a problem. It looks like we are now out of grains of infinity, but those were not too difficult for us to make. And at this point, it should just be a case of us getting some more item pipes and piping the items where they need to go. The item pipes, as before, are not too expensive, thankfully. We do need more cobblestone, but again, now that we have that extra storage disk, we can put a little bit more cobblestone and regular stone into the system, so we don't have to do quite as much traipsing back and forth. Boom, boom. I have a feeling my wrench is gone. Of course it is. I'll make a new one, chat. That's fine. Blaze rods? No way. Go say it just sticks, right? Boom and boom. And then over here, we should be able to extract from the block breaker like this. Let me make sure this works. That didn't work because it decided to extract the iron pickaxe of all things. Interesting. I do wonder if this is side-based because it's not... Oh no, I'm a fool. Hold on. That is not at all what we're doing here. We need to get a hopper, right? Because we need to output from the hopper that's going to go like here, and then we need to extract from that up into the alloy smelter. That is my bad. I saw the iron block there and thought that was inside of the block breaker, but that is not how that works. Do we have a spare hopper? We do indeed. For now, we can just have that pointing either straight down or into here. I don't think it matters either which way. And then let's set you to extract. So now we can put an iron block in there to imagine that it's just been broken. That is then going to go up and hopefully get smelted. I think the reason it's not working is because it's raining currently. Like, we can't see the rain, but I think that's what's currently going on. And then once that's done, we should then be able to extract from this down and around into the block placer. So I'm going to put a pipe here. I'm going to disconnect this, place this here, and then set this to extract. And I think that is going to extract the block of iron once it's cooked, place it into the block placer, and this should just keep the whole system going, at least until this iron pickaxe breaks. But at that point, we could just put another iron pickaxe in there, and if we wanted to just keep it going for a while, much like we've done with our strainers, we could just make a hopper and chuck a couple of pickaxes in there preemptively to allow us to kind of backlog and just keep the whole thing going whilst we work on other things. So real quick, let's get even more sticks here. And let's make like at least 5 iron pickaxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They don't have to be iron pickaxes, by the way. Like any pickaxe that could break the iron block would work. So I think a stone pick would also do the trick. But the iron pickaxe does have higher durability. And so for the time being, I think it is definitely worth utilizing. And let's try sleeping here to get rid of this storm. And hopefully we should see this solar panel working. Okay, so this is working. It does take a little while to get going. I also don't know if it's going to produce enough power. The good news is the progress doesn't reset when it gets low on power. I think this should be fine. I think the internal buffer here of 64,000 redstone flux is going to be okay. It looks like it uses maybe just over 1,000 redstone flux to make 1 scorched iron block. And so given the amount of time that the iron block stays under here, I think we should be okay. I don't think we need to invest in a battery or anything. I think this should just work. Cool. And so all we need to do now to kind of fully automate this process is we need to get crude oil automated. You'll notice that each one of the outputs does go to its own output in the refinery output here. So you can just grab a bucket and extract from any given one of these. So if I wanted some kerosene, I could just right click on this refinery output and get it. Speaking of which, how are we doing on LPG? We're at 748. The LPG is what we're going to process in our thermopneumatic processing plant. For that, we need 2 more small tanks, and that is done. This also does require heat. I'm fairly certain that we can put this here, and we can kind of double benefit from that scorching iron block. And you'll see the temperature is rising quite substantially there, which I think is fine. I don't think it matters too much how hot it goes. And then once we get to a full bucket of LPG, we should then be able to extract that full bucket. And I'm going to keep a couple of buckets of oil here, maybe 10, because I want to get a lot of these fluid generators up and running so we can continually pump oil into the refinery. But hopefully, there we go, 1 bucket of LPG. We'll take that. We'll put it into the thermopneumatic processing plant. And then with, I believe, just 1 singular piece of redstone, we should be able to transform that LPG into lubricant. That's not correct. That is my bad. It is not lubricant. Can I take this out? Move fluid. I can, and I think I can do this to take it out. I can. Okay, cool. I have no idea. I thought we had an extra 32 millibuckets in there then. It does say empty 32 buckets. That's fine. Take this out. Let me put that back. Oh, I can't put it back in here. Okay, fine. Well, hold on to that for a second. It's diesel that we want. Let me take the diesel out and put the diesel in here. Now the diesel plus the redstone equals the lubricant. There we go. And so now that we have that bucket of lubricant, in theory, we can now look at making the speed upgrades. The only problem that we now run into is the fact that we don't have sugarcane. And outside of going and finding a cartographer villager, I don't know if there's a way for us to get sugarcane. It's possible it might be sold in the catalog, but I don't necessarily think it is. The alternative is potentially getting some of these glycerol here. The glycerol you can get by putting vegetable oil and ethanol into a fluid mixer. Chat is right here in that we can actually summon villagers. This is interesting. It is a little expensive. We need a block of emerald and an extra emerald. But much like we did before with the chickens, we can use our spawning block over here. We can remove the dirt underneath, place down a block of emerald, then right-click with an emerald. We would get to keep the block of emerald. We just have to then use the emerald, I believe, to summon the villager. And even then, I don't know if we used the emerald. So if we wanted to do that, we would either have to utilize our emerald chicken, which we do have, and we could use our time in a bottle to make him produce emeralds faster. Alternatively, we could use the recipe here with the grains of piezomalite. That would require more diamonds and ender pearls. Ender pearls we have, those are coming in quite nicely. Diamonds not so much though. And so I do think that what we're probably going to want to do is swap out our diamond chicken for our emerald chicken. We did make an emerald chicken, right? Okay, so I'm not quite sure what happened to our emerald chicken, but we do not have one currently. That's not the end of the world. We can continue to breed our green chicken with our diamond chicken to try and get another emerald chicken. And I will try that real quick here. Let me grab some more of our seeds. And we do also need to eat here because we're getting pretty low on hunger. But I think what we'll do, we'll try and breed these two. We'll then drop the emerald chicken into the nest. And then whilst we're waiting for that emerald chicken to produce enough emeralds for us, we can look at setting up like 5 or 10 of these fluid generators to allow us to produce enough crude oil to continually pump into the refinery to continually produce the diesel and the LPG, with, of course, the kerosene and gasoline being there for the future once we have the AMADRON tablet. Oh, look at that. We got an emerald chicken. Nice. Okay, cool. I will just kind of instantly take this guy out of the pen, and we will fatten him up with a staggering number of seeds here and then move him straight into the nest. Okay, so I made 10 fluid generators because initially my plan was going to be to place down 10 of these and utilize 10 mineral blocks. We are still, of course, generating mineral over here, but taking a look at the modifier blocks that we can use here, these are in order, by the way, from fastest to slowest. So the nether star is fastest at 5 ticks. This will make 4 cycles per second. But I think that vibrant alloy blocks might not be a terrible idea. Initially, we were looking at pulsating alloy. This produces 1 cycle every 30 ticks, so 1.5 seconds. But the pulsating alloy is ender pearl expensive. Like, it needs a lot of ender pearls, right? We would need 9 per block. Whereas the higher tier option is the vibrant alloy here. This is once every 20 ticks, so you get 1 cycle per second, as opposed to the 90 ticks on the crystallized mineral, which is once every 4.5 seconds, making this 4.5 times faster. So 1 fluid generator with a vibrant alloy block is equal to 4.5 fluid generators with a crystallized mineral block. And to make these, we just need to put some energetic alloy and an ender pearl fragment, which is 1/9 of an ender pearl, into an alloy smelter, and the energetic alloy is just redstone, gold, and glowstone. And so I have made 10 fluid generators here, but I don't think we need all 10 of them. I think 10 with the energetic alloy would be excessive. And so what I might do is I might do maybe 5. We do need 1 full ender pearl per block. That would be 45 ender pearl fragments, along with, in this case, 45 glowstone and 45 redstone, which we should have in our redstone chicken chest over here. We do indeed. Let's take all of those. Let's drop them into our alloy smelter. Boom, boom, boom. That's not right. We put the gold in first, of course. We have 103 gold over here. Let's grab exactly 45 gold. Boom. That's going to start working. Of course, we can do something like this to make it just that little bit faster. Of course, assuming that power holds up. I think we might also be able to increase the speed of the pipe to potentially keep the power coming in, because we have the power in the battery. At this point, the bottleneck is just how fast the power can move from the battery into the alloy smelter. It looks like that does indeed work. Speeding the pipe up does like send more power through to the alloy smelter, and so if anything, we'd start to see it coming out of here. But we also have a buffer inside of the solar panel array as well. And basically, once this is done, we can then run it through a second time with the ender pearl fragments. This one uses even less power than this one, and that's going to get us enough to set up 5 of these fluid generators, each of which is going to have a vibrant alloy block on top of them. And that should hopefully be a decent amount of oil coming in that we can then just pipe in using a fluid pipe, which I believe is the final pipe that we've not yet made. And so if I quickly do something like this, I think we're going to complete yet another quest under the Strainer's quest line. We are indeed. And then there are these universal pipes here. I don't really rate the universal pipes that much. I don't think they're particularly great, and I don't think we need them. But we might end up making them at some point just to kind of complete the quest. And so, real quick, I'm going to finish off the energetic alloy into vibrant alloy crafting chain, and I'll figure out where we're going to put our 5 crude oil fluid generators. All right, so I've placed down 5 buckets of crude oil here out of our tank and surrounded that with glass to allow our fluid generator to work. I'm going to put down the oil tank here. That's going to allow oil to go into it. And then we're going to extract from that, of course, using our pipe, like so. That's going to take the oil and pump it into the refinery, which, of course, is going to process it as it sees fit. And what we're going to do now is we're going to use some floppers, also known as fluid hoppers here, to allow us to move the liquid from these fluid generators, because these don't actually have like an internal buffer, so they don't hold any fluid, and so you can't just use fluid pipes like this. You have to put an inventory beneath them that can hold the fluid. Thankfully, the floppers here can hold up to 5 buckets of crude oil, and so if we just grab a little bit more in the way of iron here, we should be able to make ourselves 3 more floppers, which just requires 1, 2, 3 more buckets. Boom, and Boom. And with 3 floppers, we should be able to do what you can do with regular hoppers and just kind of feed them into each other like this. And with that, we can then take our 5 vibrant alloy blocks and place those directly on top of the crude oil. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Nice. And now, if we go and right-click on the fluid generator, we should see that it's now doing in the bottom left there 20 ticks, and you'll see the oil is coming in pretty quick. Again, it's only 10 millibuckets per cycle, so we get 10 millibuckets per fluid hopper per second. So we're generating 50 millibuckets here of oil per second, which is not super fast, but it's also not too slow. And it looks like we're actually generating it about as fast as it's being used. It looks like we are generating it a little faster than it's being used, which is perfect. The iron block there is still in place, which is good to see. And the iron pickaxe has taken a little bit of damage, but that's fine. You'll see we're still processing through those. What we could probably do is we could probably add like a second iron block to the equation. That way, there's always another scorching iron block ready to take its place. So as soon as this one's broken, the next one gets placed down, and then the kind of buffer iron block gets smelted, and then is ready to take over its place, just to keep things going nice and smoothly. And so yeah, we are pretty much good to go here. Over on this side, how are we doing on emeralds? We're at 8 emeralds. Let me see. We've only got 11 minutes left in our time in the bottle here. We've been using it quite liberally today. We can go ahead, speed this up to 32x again. Do we have 1 emerald actually left in the system from the last episode? We have 2. Nice. Okay, in that case, chat, I think we're basically good to go here. Let's craft up a block of emerald, like so. And then once we spawn a villager, if we want to get sugarcane, we need a cartography table, which requires, annoyingly, paper. So paper we can make with soaked paper, which we can make with log sheets, which we can make with pressure plates. So I think what we're going to have to do here is make some pressure plates like this. 4 pressure plates gets us 2 log sheets. 2 log sheets gets us 2 soaked paper, which is 2 paper, which is actually perfect. So let's make you. Let's put you into, I believe, the soaking rack. Yes, a soaking table right here. That is going to take a second, but that's completely fine. Back over here, let's do this. And I don't think I can use the animal capture net on a villager. Yeah, I can't. That would be too easy. I don't think there are any hazards around the base. Look at that. He's joined the chickens. That's actually completely fine. Okay, back over here. These are done. Fantastic. We just now need to dry them in our drying table. And as soon as that's done, we should have everything that we need to make the cartography table. Boom. And boom. The one thing we don't have is scrap. This guy will, if he has access to the table, he will become employed. However, if we don't have any scrap, we can't actually purchase anything from this guy because he only accepts scrap. It's possible he might do us a trade of some persuasion where he will give us some scrap. I think that is entirely possible. Let me put the cartography table there, and then let me get rid of this fence post here, and let's see if he converts. He's not going to convert. We're just going to release the chickens. That's actually my bad. Whoops. Hold on. Let me put these guys back into their respective pen. They got a bit more space now. That's that's fine. Where the heck did my villager go? Where's he gone? He's over here. Here he is. Okay, he's decided on a different profession. I'd much prefer it if you weren't an armorer, my friend. Is it like the blast furnaces that are doing this for you here? Gonna get rid of those. If you could become a cartographer, you really don't want to get into cartography, eh? There we go. Okay, so here, he'll give us 1 relic scrap for 3 paper, and then we need 12 relic scraps for 1 sugarcane. That's not ideal. That's not ideal. Now, as I mentioned before, one way that we can get relic scraps is via the AMADRON tablet. If we wanted to make the AMADRON tablet, we would need a lot of plastic because the tablet itself here requires 7, and then we also need a GPS tool, which requires a further 4. So if we wanted to get 7 plastic, we would need 7 molten plastic, 7 buckets of molten plastic, that is. And thankfully, you do get... Oh, this actually might not be bad at all, now that I look at it. I think if we get another bucket here... actually, we already have an LPG bucket, but we can put the LPG into the thermopneumatic processing plant, like so. And then instead of putting redstone in, we put in the coal. That's going to make us molten plastic. And then I think we can just put the molten plastic... Do we just put it in the world, like this? We do, and it gets us a plastic sheet. That was actually way easier than I thought it would be, and it looks like you do actually get 10 plastic per bucket of LPG, because it's 100 millibuckets of LPG per plastic, per 1 bucket of plastic, that is. And so this 1 bucket of LPG alone actually is going to get us 10 of these. People are saying I don't need the whole. Is it not going to spread? It's not going to spread. Okay, perfect. So we can just kind of put these down like perfect. Okay, and let me put the sand back in the hole there. So that's 10 plastic sheets. And so back over here now, then we might actually be able to make this AMADRON tablet happen. So for that, we do need a diamond. Do we have a diamond in here? We do indeed. Fantastic. So let's craft up the GPS tool, which also requires a glass pane. That's fine. I did just start smelting up some more glass over here to build out our little oil generators there. Let's go boom and boom. And then that should be everything for the GPS tool. It is indeed. And then we also need the air canister here, which also seems very doable. And at that point, we are missing 1 plastic. Apparently, I have underestimated here. That's fine. We do have 3 buckets of LPG. Let's do this. And fantastic. We'll take out another bucket of plastic. Nice. So now back over here, we can do this, and we get the AMADRON tablet. Much like everything else in Pneumaticraft, the AMADRON tablet does need charging here. So I'm going to place it into our drone charger. And once this has a little bit of charge into it, we can right-click an inventory to allow it to provide items to vendors, and then we can right-click a tank to allow it to provide fluid to vendors. I do wonder if we can right-click directly onto the refinery. I don't think we can, but we can always give it a go. So let's take this out. And let me get a chest down for vendors. So I'll put the chest here, and we will shift right-click. And then I'm also going to shift right-click on the gasoline, and that might actually work. It does. Look, you'll see right here that we can sell gasoline for relic scraps. It's a little pricey. It's 1 relic scrap for 2 buckets of gasoline. We got 7 buckets of gasoline here, so I think we can go ahead and right-click 1, 2, 3 times and click placeholder. What we should see is we should see a drone come down. It should take 6 buckets of gasoline out of this tank, and then it should come back in a second and give us 3 relic scrap. Again, not the best trade in the world, especially given that it's 12 relic scrap to get 1 sugar can. That does make it a little expensive, but we can also do the same trade with, look at that, 3 relic scrap, nice. We can do the same trade here with the kerosene. If we shift right click, we can then go ahead, and this one is 3 buckets to 1. So here we can only do this twice. And again, you only do get 1 here, which is unfortunate. So right click twice, place order. The LPG is a little better. You get 1, it's just 1 bucket. So we could do this 3 times, which might be worth it. And the same with the diesel, we can do that. But the diesel is 4,000 millibuckets of diesel gets you 1 relic scrap. I really don't think that's worth it, given that we do want that lubricant. But that's 5 relic scraps. People are suggesting that we might be able to kind of finagle this trader a little bit if we get a fletching table, which does seem doable. If we swap this guy to a fletcher, we might be able to sell him sticks, potentially. Let me get rid of my cartography table. This guy's gone through a lot of employee changes today. Hello, my friend. Would you... Oh, he's been disabled. Okay, it does say in the... It does say in the welcome section that some villages have been tweaked. Yeah, some are still missing trades. This might be intentional, and so yeah, it's quite possible that's not gonna work. Okay, so a quick swap over here. The villager was trying to escape, so we built a little compound for him out here. This is just where he was standing when we built it. But we can sell cactus for relic scraps, and as you may notice, we do have a lot of cactus available to us. And so I think what we'll do is we'll quickly go around and cut down basically all of our cactus. I'm going to replant it, of course, but for the time being, we'll cut it down and sell it to this guy. My lapis, of course, is around here, and we are backing up nicely on lapis again, which is good, despite the fact that we are turning a lot of it. Actually, never mind. I thought we had... Oh, it's stuck in here? Interesting. I don't know why it's stuck in there. I do believe, though, that for one, this is an awkward thing to get around now. I should probably move some of this stuff, but I think we should have some lapis in here. We do. Okay, cool. Let me take this. Let me make another lapis shovel, and then let's go and basically pick up all of our cacti to trade to this villager. We are going to have to get another villager, but the emerald block over here wasn't used the first time around, and I do believe the emerald is used, but that's fine. We are still getting emeralds from our emerald chicken over here, slowly but surely, and so we have the ability to get quite a few more villagers now that we have that 1 block of emerald there. All right, so a lot of cactus breaking and replanting later. we now have quite a bit of it to sell to this guy. I don't know how much he's going to actually let us sell. He is going to unlock new trades for us as we level him up here, which potentially could give us a wheat trade. The Twitch chat did point out that we could have maybe just like kind of broken and replaced the composter to potentially get that wheat trade if we really wanted to. But we do have 14 relic scraps here, and of course we can get more cactus sooner rather than later. And at the same time, over here, whilst we were gathering the cactus, we've got more of the gasoline, the LPG, and the kerosene, and so we can once again utilize this. This is 3 buckets at a time, so we could do 3 more of these trades. 1, 2, 3, place order, and of course we can do the same thing again with the gasoline as well. This one was 2,000, and we've got how many buckets of gasoline? We've got 10, so we can do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, place order, and that's going to get us a lot of relic scrap. So we did want to get sugarcane, of course, to allow us to get sugar, which I think is still a sensible option for us. For that, we're going to have to right-click again to get another villager. And I think ideally we want to put some fence posts down first. He spawns, I believe, on top of the block here, which is not ideal. Let's like ideally I'd push him kind of back down into here. But this guy is a tightrope walking master who does not care for my plans. So instead, let's once again grab our cartography table, which is here, and let's see if we can't. No, don't go. I think he's trying to go for the barrel. They keep trying to go for the barrel. I don't want. You don't want the barrel, my friend. Okay, don't. I don't think we can do anything with this guy. Like, if I put the cartography table down, I don't think he's interested because he saw this barrel and he really wants to become a fisherman, and that's all that he cares about in his life, ever. So, I mean, I guess, just like before, I think I might have to just break the barrel here. Look at that. He's a cartographer. He's given up on all his hopes and dreams that he had to be a fisherman once upon a time, and he's back to being a cartographer, which is exactly what we're after. So, as soon as I find the barrel, we can refill the dripstone. Fantastic. And hopefully now we can trade with this guy to get sugarcane. Beautiful. Okay, cool. So we'll go ahead and we'll plant that down for now, maybe right about here. We do want to make sure that we kind of duplicate that to get more sugarcane going forward. And in the next episode, we can come back and we can spend some of that sugar on making our machines faster, utilizing the lubricant. Ideally, what I'd also like to do, we're down to just 5 relic scrap, which is not ideal. We do have the ability to sell 1 more creosine bucket here, and we also have the ability to sell some of our LPG as well. This one's a 1-to-1, so we can sell 10. By the way, it's a little awkward here. By default, the cursor is clicked into the search bar, and so if you just try and right-click, it doesn't do anything. You have to click and then right-click, because as soon as you click, it comes off of that search bar. You'll see this goes from being highlighted to not being highlighted, and then you can right-click. I don't know why it does it like that, but it's a little awkward. But we'll sell all 10 buckets there, and we're at almost 3 scraps worth of diesel there, which is also not ideal. But what I do want to buy from the catalog is I would very much so like to buy the sprayer. Now, the sprayer, I think, costs... Can I craft the sprayer? I can't, because I don't believe we can make mixed stone, unfortunately. Usually this is makeable with raw mixed stone, but in this pack I don't believe we can. So the sprayer is available for 12 relic scraps. The reason I want it is that if we buy some white spray as well, we can make white stone, which we can then use to craft marble. And I think that marble is going to look quite nice for base decoration. If I type marble into JEI here, the marble from Desertopolis is 2 white-colored stone and 2 regular stone. White-colored stone you can get from the sprayer by combining any regular color of stone, in our case just normal stone, with the white spray can. And that gets us white-colored stone, and then you can use white-colored stone and just duplicate it with the resource generator. So I think that could be quite useful for us. That gets us up to 21, actually. And so now back over here, we should be able to buy the sprayer. Boom. And at the same time, we can also buy the white spray can as well. That leaves us with 7 relic scrap. And so now, if we were to grab just like the 1 stone, I believe that what we should be able to do is place this guy down, put in the spray can, the top left, put in the stone, that gets us some white-colored stone, and then if we just get another resource generator, we can then begin producing the white-colored stone over here, and then if we craft it with the regular stone, we can then get some marble. The Twitch chat is asking if we have Snad installed. We do not have Snad, unfortunately, chat. Or as nice as it would be, it is not available in the pack. As far as another tier 2 resource generator goes, we just need the standard buckets of lava and water. We do have, of course, unlimited water here, and I believe we have at least 1 bucket of lava left over in this tank that I'm holding in my inventory. We do indeed. Let's grab this as well. Oh, we don't. We're at 900 millibuckets. That is unfortunate. However, as we saw before, we do have quite a bit of lava backlogging over here. Let me also quickly do one of these because we are walking very slowly. Chat is right in that we should almost certainly place a crop support onto that sugarcane. How much compressed iron do we have? 11. Let's do this and this just to make that grow hopefully a little bit faster. Let's go ahead and make that second tier resource generator, and we'll place that down, of course, over here. Fantastic. Again, we do have a choice of what block we're going to put on top of this. I don't think it's worth making another set of vibrant alloys. I think in this scenario, just something like another block of mineral is probably going to get the job done just fine. And so let's do... we can't put the chest there, of course, Isaac, because the chest is not going to open. And so in that case, we'll use the chest to make another storage door. This one right here. And we'll place that down right about there. And so, yeah, that's going to produce the white stone for us. And as soon as we have 2 white stone, we can take 2 regular stone, combine it with the 2 white stone, boom, and boom, and we get marble, and then we can craft the marble, for example, into marble bricks. I think that might be done in a stone cutter, though, not in the crafting table. The stone cutter, of course, super easy for us to make, and then boom, we can make stuff like marble bricks here, which I think look quite nice. I think are going to be a nice addition to our desert base. So I might do a little bit of base work between streams, putting down some of the marble, and maybe moving some stuff around. Things are kind of haphazardly placed at the minute, which is not ideal. You know, we've got random furnaces in the middle, we've got a crafting table here, just a rogue hopper that's kind of full of lapis. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to make things a little bit nicer, but next time we'll come back and we'll hopefully have a little bit more sugarcane. We'll look at getting some speed upgrades for our drones, for our, pressure chamber here. I'll probably also make another pressure chamber so that we have one that's just for general use. And we'll also look at automating these chickens finally so we can start pumping the seeds over. Again, this is not their final resting place, which is kind of why I've not pumped the seeds over thus far. We obviously could just make like a stack of item pipes and run them over, but I don't want the chickens to stay here. I want to set up a dedicated area for those chickens. And yeah, next time we'll come back, we will potentially start on big power here. But I think before we do that, we're probably going to work on kind of finessing what we already have. I want to make our systems a lot better. I want to get some resource production actually up and running. I don't want to have to be timing and bottling all of our chickens, so we might do some chicken breeding. We might look at definitely automating the production of the resources that we have with the chickens. We'll look at maybe upgrading our refined storage system to introduce some crafting elements, and of course we'll look at those speed upgrades as I've mentioned already. But of course, those are all problems for future Isaac. For now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of Desertopolis there.